All right, after a break, we are back in 45 minutes, back to the Solution Club. In 45 minutes, it'll be the start of Vegan World 2026 Collective Intelligence on the Solution Club for the final 2 hours. So prior to that, we got 45 minutes. First of all, are we all in agreement that the story is of just primary importance in terms of inviting more folks into the conversation and specifically into the project of feeding everyone? In fact, they're really kind of two different projects that go in parallel. Feeding everyone can stand alone, right? We've been talking about that for millennia. How do we do that? So you don't need, well, you apparently don't need collective superintelligence for that, though I would argue that you do. But anyway, you've got feed everyone, and then you have really the bigger picture story of what I call the full stack trajectory from the conversation through the evolution of collective superintelligence, through feeding everyone, through whatever stages we go through, again, either direct or indirect route. That's the full scale, big picture story, which is, of course, a much bigger story than just feeding everyone, right? So it's really two stories in one. So I guess my question is, how are y'all feeling about the story part of all this as a means to bringing people in, or the stories plural?
Well, Jamin, first I'd ask, what is your definition of a story?
So a story is simply something that can be told, that's relatively easy to remember, kind of like Stone Soup. Like any one of us could just tell that story because it's been imprinted on us. So I guess something that's imprintable, right? There's probably a meme or perhaps multiple memes that would go along with it. So a meme is a different thing than the story itself. But a meme is kind of like a mini story or a component of the story that can go viral. But my goal would be that the story itself go viral. So something that has the potential to go viral is readily imprintable, et cetera, et cetera. That's my definition.
The thing about stories is, they were, the old stories, like the Stone Soup stories, they start with, once upon a time there was, like there were these two guys and they were hungry, the Stone Soup story. And then, but they're always character-led. There were these two guys, they were hungry. And then instantly you've got the reader or the listener buying into it, relating it. What happened to the two guys? Did they get their soup? Did the villagers rebel against them? What happened next? So that is like the fundamental template of the story to me. So how does that template of the story work with this?
Yeah. So, well, let's start with the story of feeding everyone, right? It would kind of go like this. Humanity we were kind of stumbling along, where maybe, 3/4 of us were basically adequately fed and a quarter of us were not. And of the quarter who were not, maybe a full third of those were really severely undernourished and, tens of millions dying every year from hunger and ailments attributable to their,
But Jamin, people never relate to those millions of people dying of hunger. They only relate to the one person.
You're so right. You are so right. So thank you for that. So again, the story could be, a group of us got together from different countries, around the world. Right now we got 4 countries: Ireland, England, Canada, and the United States.
You know, like the template for a joke. There was an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman. And the joke is the joke can make you laugh, but the joke also entertains you. And the joke is quite often the philosophy. The joke is never, you know, look at Ricky Gervais and, you know, doing the Golden Globes, you know. That was a joke, but it wasn't really a joke, was it? It wasn't. It was a preacher, it was a philosophy, it was a telling of, it was an entertainment, it was all those things. But the joke is, I think maybe the basis of a story is a joke in a funny kind of way. Anyway, there was a Seattle man, a London woman, I don't know where Emery comes from, a Brooklyn guy, and an Irish guy. And what happened next?
Yeah, exactly. And they all got together and they said, you know what? I bet if all of us got together, just like the 4 of us are getting together right now, I bet that we could feed everyone, right? And then we started talking about it. Well, how would we get everyone together, right? How would that work? Well, get us all together on video conference. Well, and then thanks to the pandemic, we were all, you know, on video conference. It's just that most of us were in the wrong conversation. And so those 4 folks kept at it and kept at it and kept at it until the news of their conversation, but I think we're onto something. I'm just kind of groping around here. So, and I really appreciate your leadership here. So carry on. Let's, you know, so, you know, these 4 people from 4 different countries. By the way, Emery's from Montreal, Canada, originally from, well, I'll let Emery tell his story, but been living in Montreal for quite a while. And accomplished stained glass artist there in Montreal, and I'm sure elsewhere. So,
You know, Jamin, I was like very interested in. Have you ever watched Sex and the City?
I'm ashamed to say I have a few times. Yeah.
Why are you ashamed? It's very interesting. I was very interested. Why did that story really work? Because it's like worked after a lot of series that didn't work. Like I love Mad Men, but 1, 2 series after that, it lost itself. Sex and the City, I mean, it's geared towards women, I guess, but it just kept being good. You were never ever fed up with that. You might have been fed up with the 2 films, but you were never fed up with the series. It was like, it was such a good premise. Carrie Bradshaw, she's writing her article, but there were 4 types of women. And it was like, I was thinking of that story, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And you know, they were very, very progressive, the Alcotts, the family, the Alcotts, the father of Louisa May Alcott. They were doing lots of, way back then, they were doing lots of alternative things. She had the 4 women, and that story endures. You know, it doesn't have to be women. It could be 4 types of men, 4 types of women. It's something about that 4. It's enduring and it works. What makes the story work? What are the mechanics that make the story work? There's in Sex and the City, there's 4 different types of women. My nephew once said to me, which one are you in the 4 women? I said, I'm a bit of all of them. And then he went round we're an all-female family, but he went round all of us and said, which one are you? And they all pretty much said they were all of them. They were a bit of all of them.
I got the story. I got it. You ready? So?
No.
Here it is. Little humans. Little humans. Right? And because...
Little humans.
Little humans.
Yeah, because little can become giants. Because I had this weird moment this morning when I woke up. Jane, but it doesn't even make sense to me. So it probably won't make sense to you, right? I was halfway between Sleeping and Waking. You know that place, that weird place?
Yes, yes, yes.
And I had this vision, you know, whatever that place is, that dreamy place. And basically, I was in the middle of Iceland, and there was a cave, and there were giants in the cave. I'd been thinking about mega beasts, you know, the day before. And there was giants in the cave, but my thought and my feeling as I was waking up, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified that I was in this world of giants. And then I kept thinking about it all through the day. And then I thought, you know, in terms of my storytelling, I'm like very social realist. So I'm always one foot on the ground, always, I never let go imaginatively. I never really let go. I'm always down there in the politics, feet on the ground, you know, social realism. And then I suddenly thought that, well, we have no social realism at the moment. It's all changed. Systems change. It's all changed, everybody. We've all lost our bearings. None of us know where we are. We've never had world lockdown before. There is no social realism at the moment. So I just thought, this is a moment of change, that I let go of the social realism and I go to the cave of giants. So it's just about letting go of my old certainties of social realism presupposes there's such a thing as reality. There's no reality now. Where is the reality? This is a new reality, isn't it? You know, so it was just, I had that strange moment. Like, I still don't know what to make of that. I'm still exploring that, but I thought I'd pass it on to you people anyway. Apologies.
No, no, no apology needed. Very good, very good. Can you sum up the essence for me? I got a little distracted because I need to put on my headphones.
Basically, I woke up in that land between sleeping and waking, and there was a cave in the middle of Iceland, and it was occupied by giants. I was really frightened. But actually, I can even now visualize.
Wow.
Well, the giants in your dream probably represent the global corporates. You know what I mean? The power, the 1%. They're the giants in the world that we live in today, like, and we're the, you know, the little people. So yeah.
And it's interesting that it was Iceland. And you know what I did afterwards, James? I looked up a map of Iceland to see if the middle of Iceland was occupied. And there seems to be quite you know, there are various areas of Iceland that are occupied, but it looked very mountainous. And then that led me to wondering about tales of giants. And there are lots of Norse myths about giants. I didn't take it much further because, to be honest with you, I found the whole thing quite disturbing. I'm still somewhat disturbed by it because as a social realist, you know, it took away any realist base from me, you know, which I'm sure is a development, because I've been sitting here in lockdown looking for my development. I haven't had any. And then, but it's also quite scary to me, you know, because that level of letting go is quite scary.
Well, I'm kind of digging this concept of little humans, right? Because it brings you to Little Women, right? And that story. But what it's really about is, you know, when you say Little Women, you know, the first thought is what, you know, are they like really short? Or no. They're young. Okay, young women. Okay, got it. But what's a young woman but a full woman in the making, right? So it's that seed, that potential that grows into something. And, you know, here we are, little humans. Each of us is, you know, we're not world figures, we're not billionaires, we're not this, that, the other. And we're also little in number. There's just 4 of us, little humans, but that has that potential. That it's the seed that will grow. And it kind of, you know, it brings you in and says, well, who are these little humans and what are they doing? What makes them little? What, you know, what are they up to? Anyway, just a thought, little humans. You know, we were small in number. We were apparently without much power. But, you know, just like a young woman, she actually has tremendous power. It's all in how you look at it, right? So it's this thing of optics.
With Little Women, you might not know the book, but there was the writer and the kind of like the feminist, that's Jo. And then there was Amy, and then she didn't know whether to be a romantic heroine or an artist. She was kind of both. And then there was Meg, she was the housewife, the homemaker. And then there was Beth, she was like the tragic heroine, you know, very virtuous, very good, very pure. But I was thinking about what you said about little people. You know, Ireland is the land of the little people. They've got lots of myths around little people doing magical things, suddenly going into people's houses who were made a mess and cleaning up all, you know, they've got, but the little people is also the people, as opposed to the billionaires and the 1% and all those rulers and all the little people is the people down the bottom. So the little people is the lovely, it's the perfect thing, really.
Yeah, and also Ireland is, I've commented many times that for us in the United States, it's just like we dream of Ireland. It's just it's kind of like this mythical place. Because even though, you know, most of us are part Irish, you know, not everyone makes the journey, you know, back to Ireland. But so it remains kind of this mythical place for us, right? And I'm also on an island. I'm here in Whidbey Island, north of Seattle. And it's a beautiful island in the beautiful Salish Sea. Interestingly, John Raymer, who's often on the Block Party, he's actually never been on, well, I've never met him in person, but he also lives on the same island, Whidbey Island, coincidentally. And then we've got Emery and So in the big city. So from the little islands to the big cities, right? And the interesting optic there is that area-wise, the islands are much bigger than any city, but little in terms of population. So you've again, I got this optics of little becoming big, big becoming little, and that's a trend that's been predicted, and that is, I understand Melissa has said this many times, that it's a characteristic of our time right now, that small things are becoming big and big things are becoming small. Look at the corporations that are collapsing. Look at the economies that are collapsing, governments that are collapsing. These are big things becoming little, flat as a pancake in some cases. And little things like what we're doing are becoming big. So little humans, right? 2 from big cities and 2 from, you know, little islands.
What happened next?
Well, let's tell the story. So these 4 little humans got together from different corners of the world, right? We're pretty far from each other, right?
I would say these 4 little humans, a very small portion of all the other little humans. But what separates these 4 little humans is that they've broken out of the hypnosis that the others are under. And they've all been hypnotized by the giants. There's a story there now starting anyway.
I love it. I love it. We're the 4 who broke out of the hypnosis and said, wait a second, these giants are falling. If you look closely, they're falling, falling, falling. And when they hit the ground, what do we do next? So we're putting together the plan for what to do next. And not just next, after that. Yeah, go ahead, So.
When I didn't wake up, I was halfway and half asleep. That was when I was there in Iceland with the giants in the cave and terrified. That land between sleeping and waking. And we talk all the time about wake up, everybody, wake up. Not awake, are they? You know, well, a few of us are. You know, a few million of us are. You know, like we are awake, but we so want the other ones to wake up, but we're not even fully awake. We're in that netherland. I think that's probably quite a creative land, that halfway land between sleeping and waking, where I found the cave in the Iceland. Ice, obviously it's linked to planet and ice, and the cave is linked to every kind of philosophy that you could ever dream of. But the giants, we're trying to make this super intelligence. So maybe I'm just scared of becoming a giant that I should be or could be. Maybe I'm scared of becoming a super.
Yeah. No. I love it. So you're a giant in my world. All of us are giants. We are little people, little humans, becoming big, creating something big. And because we are, the most awake, right? And we're meeting in the Netherlands in the clouds, right? And we're meeting in this kind of faraway place. And it is kind of a half awake, half dream state. We're awake in the present reality, which sucks. And we're dreaming of the future, right? Yeah. We are Gulliver, we are big. Yeah, it's like Gulliver's Travels. And in the old world we're small, in the new world we're giants. And my mom is calling again, so I'm gonna let it continue recording, and unless you tell me to stop. Hello, this is Jamin.
Oh, hi.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah,
Hey.
hi.
With the recent research on the bolide strike at the Chicxulub crater in Mexico. In fact, I was listening to it on the news this morning coming into work. That killed off the non-avian dinosaurs. Of course, dinosaurs still exist. We just call them birds now, and gave rise to alien dominance from which we emerged. So speciation does overall, over average, keep slightly a pace of extinction for the most part. Will humans persist? Coming back to the original question from Linus, well, I think we'll be here for a while, but most species go extinct within between 1 and 10 million years on average. 99% of all species that have ever existed are extinct. Now that's going back to the very beginning of life on Earth, 3.5 plus billion years ago. But we have come and we will go, just like all other species. Will the planet persist? Yes, it will, but will we be around to enjoy it? Probably not, just like most other species.
Right. There's a paper in Nature Climate Change with about 15 authors. The senior author is something I can't pronounce, Corinne Leclerc. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I think he or she is French, indicating that there's a 17% reduction in global carbon dioxide emissions as a result of COVID-19. That's been measured so far. So that's fairly significant, I would think. Anyway, I think Kevin has a question or wants to head us in the direction of the Great Barrier Reef.
%17%. Guess we'll have to listen to that over again. Haven't seen miles around, eh, James?
What's that, Emery?
You haven't seen miles around?
No, I missed him on Friday and Saturday. So, and to be honest with you, I meant to get on to him myself, all right, but I got so distracted with things that I was trying to catch up with during the week that I didn't get on to anyone really.
You're working on some art pieces?
What's that?
You're working on some paintings?
Yeah, I'm sick of looking at myself on this block party and looking at that painting behind my head. It's been unfinished now for a number of years while I was in college and everything. So I've started tackling that again. So I'm not turning on the I'm not turning on the camera now at the moment because it's not finished and it looks like I've destroyed it, but it's not really. It's something that had to be done to it. I need to start bringing out the 3 dimensions in it, like a bit of depth. So it's getting there, I suppose. I could show it to you there now. One sec there now.
I love that artwork.
I'll show it to you there now in the when the light goes off. I know it's hard to see there now, like, but if you look at the spiral, you'll probably get a better. I don't know if you could see it in that time. So funny can't see.
No, it's beautiful. Beautiful, James.
I'm just putting in the layers and putting on the, a lot of the kind of a luminous, kind of different colored luminous stuff as well, like to bring out a lot of the stars and planets into the foreground.
So it changes with the light.
Awesome. Thank you, James. Super cool. All right. So, little humans. The little humans were the first to wake up.
So far,
Yeah.
anyway. Oh, sorry, Jimmy.
No. Jump in. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, so far now I've got 4 little people. 4 little people stood out from all the others in the world. All the other little people in the world were still under a spell of hypnosis, unknowingly placed on them by the evil giants. The little people lived in all sorts of homes of all shapes and sizes, and they worked very hard to have better homes and nicer things in their life. Life was good. That's where we are now so far. Like, life was good as far as they're concerned because they're hypnotized. Like, so we get to the truth of the matter. Then the 4 little people know the truth. Life isn't as good as they think. Like,
The little in squares in a glass on a glass window, like Emery's glass window. We hadn't come out. We were caught in glass. We were stuck, but we desperately wanted to leave the glass screen. You know that.
I've got it. Here's one. So the 4 little humans, we were toiling away with everyone else, along with everyone else, toiling, looking down at our work, which we had to keep doing if we wanted to eat and stay alive. And then we got together and started talking with each other about how things could be different. And we started to look up to a bigger, brighter possible future. And we look up and we're getting so excited talking about the way it could be. And then all of a sudden, since we're all looking up, but everyone else is looking down, toiling, as we're looking up, oh my goodness, what do we see? But a huge asteroid coming towards Earth, right? That needs to be stopped. And we keep nudging the others and saying, hey, wake up, look up, it's coming. And they're like, stop distracting me. I need to keep toiling. Otherwise, I'm going to starve, right? And the 4 little humans realized that if we are going to get the rest of the humans to stop toiling and look up and see what we see so that we can all do something about it together, we need to take care of this starvation thing. We need to feed everyone. So the 4 little humans determined to feed everyone, to start a movement to feed everyone. Because if I say, hey, can I feed you? Then they stop toiling and say, well, yeah, that's why I'm toiling, so I can eat. If you feed me, I don't have to toil anymore. I'm like, well, yeah.
James, I think if I'm one of the little humans, I am in a big ice cap up in Iceland in a cave with these giants. Sorry.
Yeah, you're the Snow White princess among the giants in the big white snowy cave, right? And we're all channeling with you. We're connecting with you because with you, everything's possible, right? I guarantee you, if it was just a few of us guys, it would be a real downer. Back to you.
But what's interesting is that, that was my leap off moment, the cave in the middle of Iceland, and I'm frightened. I'm absolutely frightened of the giants. They could be the embodiment of super intelligence for all I know, but your story is an asteroid story. What's James' story and what's Imre's?
All of the above. I see a big boot.
Imre, Did you say a big boot?
Like a Monty Python, big boot coming down over the heads of the little people.
You know what that's usually indicating, don't you?
So you're on mute and you were breaking up a little bit before you went on mute.
I was just, the big boot usually symbolizes something, you know, the unmentionable.
Well, the big boot could be what James was talking about these evil giants. We looked up and we saw that a big boot of the evil giant was coming down on us. And we said to the other little humans, hey, hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's either get out of the way or put something to stop the boot from coming down, or, you know, or knock the giant over or something, or we'll all be crushed, right? But the little humans were so focused on toiling away to get food that they couldn't listen, right? You know, when you're so focused on something, you just can't listen to anything else. And the more life or death that something, the more you focus on it to the exclusion of everything else, right?
What's happening?
but-
Go ahead, Jane. Go ahead, Jane.
No, I think if you were cutting to the quick, I suppose, because you need to keep the story short instead of making loads of explanations of whatever. Like, so cutting to the quick, the four little humans found each other through their own questioning about why are we working so hard all the time, and through their pondering at night time or whatever, or they looked up, as you said, like they looked up at the moon or whatever, and then they saw the asteroid coming. I think that the asteroid is cutting to the quick, like, because basically you're right, like everybody's busy working so that we can put food on the table and pay our bills and pay off that noose around our neck called the mortgage for the rest of our lives. And when we finally have it paid off, we die 4 or 5 years later. You know what I mean? So what's the fucking point? Like, so yeah, there's an asteroid coming, but nobody will look up because they're too busy fucking working and to put the food on the table and pay their bills. And if they don't, they'll end up like all the other starving little people out in the poor countries who don't even get a chance to have a job to put food on the table.
But
So
more to the point, James, they actually don't believe the asteroid is there. It's like, I've seen the ghost. Yeah, we don't believe you. Yeah, you've seen the ghost.
No, they don't look up because they're the giants, their bosses, told them they're not allowed to look up. They have to keep their heads down and work. Simple as that, like, keep your heads down and work, you're not allowed to look up. It's like the forbidden apple, like, you're not allowed to look up, like, so, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, I think I really like that we're simplifying the story, right? And I love that the toiling, instead of being for hoarding or for this or for power, no, it's so fundamental. It's about food. See, Stone Soup is so powerful because it's about food. You have these 3 hungry soldiers, right? You have these 4 little humans. All the humans were toiling, and trying to take from each other, because you're not just toiling to grow food, you're also trying to take food from others and defend your own pile so that others don't take it. But we were all looking at it in this very separate way, and it just had us so distracted we couldn't even look up for a second to see the asteroid and say, oh my goodness, we need to do something about that. So these 4 little humans said, okay, if not the asteroid, let's get people's attention with food itself. Now you got their attention. Hey, we're going to feed everyone. What? See, that's the promise of Stone Soup, is to feed everyone. And so the four little humans.
Yeah, Jamin, it's like saying, okay, you don't believe in the asteroid's coming, but what you do believe in is the big dinner is coming.
Exactly. And what you don't know is that dinner time conversation is going to be about the asteroid, because now that you're feeding yourself, it's like, I can take a break from toiling because now I'm finally fed. Okay, what's dinner time conversation? What's on the nightly news? What, there's an asteroid coming? And that could be the end of the story right there. Right? Because the point of this, yeah, go ahead.
Basically, food is the medium to allow them to take on the asteroid, face the asteroid, because it's too big a step down here to the asteroid. So you have to have a medium, and the medium is dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Food is what gets people's attention, right? My original
and it unites people. You know, even in scriptures, you know, it's the food, it's the Last Supper, isn't it? It's the the big dinner. I mean, that's quite interesting. If you're talking in terms of a Last Supper, why the Last Supper? Let's not think of crucifixions and all that. What about if Last Supper is before the asteroid? That's quite interesting, isn't it? If you think of a last final supper, not in terms of the New Testament, but in terms of a new era story where the asteroid is coming.
Love it, love it, love it. Emery, yes, go for it.
Yeah, you know what just came into my mind? Silly love songs. That people love songs, right? Love, Love, love songs.
Yeah.
Silly love songs.
I used to think the world was full of silly love songs.
Got a good little
I look around me and I see it isn't so. Oh no. Yeah.
It's interesting what you said, Emery. I was listening to this Dutch philosopher who caused a hell of a fuss at the last Davos or the last COP meeting. He just said, "Oh, you're all talking. You're not doing anything." This Dutch guy, Rutger, somebody or other, and he's got a talk on YouTube, and he says his favourite film is one that most people would 100% dismiss. It's called Love Actually, and he says the deepest truth is embodied in that film. And I quite often think, like with the Guy McPherson thing, it's like nature bats last, only love remains. And I was thinking, oh God, I feel it's naff, but it's kind of like true as well. It's 100% true, but it's 100% naff simultaneously. And I remember looking at the root of the word silly, an Anglo-Saxon word, I think, I can't remember because it was when I used to read the dictionary, and that it comes from the word selig, an Anglo-Saxon word, which simultaneously meant holy. Silly, holy.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, Love Actually. Now, is that the one where that one Englishman goes like all the way to Portugal to the little village to find the Portuguese woman who had been in England, and he goes and finds her and proposes to her there? That's the one, right? It's also got Hugh Grant.
I think it's got Hugh Grant in it. It's got a number of big stars. I'm not sure I've watched it all the way through. I might have icked out when I was watching it. But thanks to this guy who I really respect, who's part of the environmental movement and a big speaker and everything, I'm going to watch it again, you know, because he said, listen to me, everybody thinks this is a naff, awful movie. And he said, it embodies real truth, this movie. So I'm going to watch it with his eyes and his ears.
Yeah, it's all about true love. That's the essence of Love Actually. It's true love. Hey, speaking of true love, we've got Benjamin and Suzanne in the house. We talk about true love and you guys just show up. How do you like that? 2 peas in a pod. All righty. Welcome. Well, it is 5:02 p.m. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording whenever we're ready. Or do we want to wait for some more of the Vegan World 2026 crowd to show up before we shift gears? Shall we do that and kind of give it a few minutes? All right, that's fine. Okay, great. But your show, you call it. So Benjamin, Suzanne, whenever you want to just wave and boom, the talking stick, the moderator stick goes to you guys. I know that's one of Benjamin's favorite things to do in the world is moderate meetings on Zoom and tell people when to talk and when to shut up. He's just all over that. You shut up. Okay, you. It's just who he is. I'm just kidding, because Benjamin's quite the opposite. You're more about like the jam. And if somebody, you know, wants to just start jamming, so you're just like, yeah, you know, you're not into telling people to shut up. It's to the contrary. See, I think that gets to the heart of it. You wouldn't make a very good Fox News anchor, Benjamin. Shut up! You're a communist! You! All right. So we've been kind of cooking up this news story for humanity. And shall we recap it for Benjamin and Suzanne? All right. So the story, we're calling the story tentatively Little Humans. You know, like the story Little Women, but Little Humans. So here's the story. There were these 4 little humans, right? And everyone was toiling away, right? Toiling away. Silas, welcome. Welcome, Silas. Oh, he's just getting his earbuds in. Now, welcome, Silas. Hey, great to see you. We're just telling stories while we wait for the rest of the vegans to show up. The vegans are coming. Look out. All right. So we've cooked up this new story for humanity called Little Humans. And so these 4 little humans are toiling away along with all the other humans to get food, right? And we're all in competition for scarce food and scarce resource and all that, right? And these 4 little humans start talking with each other and say, wait a second, there's got to be something more, right? And as we're thinking of what could be more, we look up to contemplate what more could there be beyond toiling for food and fighting with each other. And as we look up, we say, oh my goodness, there's this huge asteroid coming towards the Earth. And they try to get the other humans to wake up and look up and say, look. And they keep saying, no, quit bothering me. I'm too busy toiling to get food so that I can eat and survive and feed my family. So just get away, right? So the 4 little humans were quite perplexed. What do? We're just trying to get people to save themselves, but they're not even willing to do that now. So they're so frustrated and they're just like arguing about it. What do we need to do? And then one of them finally says, hey, I got it. Why are they so distracted? Because they're trying to get food. So what if we deliver food to everybody? What if we just feed everybody? And we say, and so they get together, they figure it all out, and they ring the dinner bell so that everyone will come, right? And within dinner time, basically stone soup happens in that chapter of the story. the story that we know, stone soup, right? They ring the dinner bell, everybody comes, and like, well, there's this big empty pot full of water and a rock. Well, what? You know, anyway, fast forward 45 minutes, everyone's eating. Now that everyone's eating, they're not focused on toiling anymore because now their bellies are full and there's food in front of them, bountiful plant-based food, and they're eating. And it's like, okay, well, what's the topic of dinner time conversation? And the 4 little humans raise their hands and say, I know. How about the asteroid that's coming? And everyone looks up and they say, oh my goodness. And that's when they do SRM, right? So you get plant-based, you get feeding everyone, you get SRM, and you get collective intelligence, because until the belly is full, the brain is very focused on filling the belly. And that's the story, little humans. Anyway, we're cooking up. Yes, go ahead, Silas. You're welcome.
No, I was going to say, it's not just not just the belly is full until we are all healthy. We don't think about other things. Because until then, it's my diabetes, my heart disease, my this, my that. That's what you're mostly concerned about. You're not caring about other things. This is why we need to have delicious, nutritious, healthy food available to people, for free. So literally, I'm saying, if you really want to do something for the communities of color right now, cook some food and go take it and give it to them. Cook some nutritious food and take it and give it to them. Tell them we appreciate you, you're our neighbors.
That's it right there. That's it. All righty. Well, whenever y'all want to start the Vegan World 2026 Collective Intelligence meeting, just say so, and I'll stop recording and do a new one whenever you say. We were just waiting for more of us to show up. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a quiet night considering all that's going on right now. And Suzanne,
yeah, there are lots of meetings going on, so I think I'm not surprised that people are fatigued.
Yeah. Suzanne and I were thinking of going and joining the protest here in the Portland area tonight, so I'm not sure how long we'll stick around here. So I think that starts in about an hour.
Benjamin and Suzanne, we've got Black Lives Matter's protests tomorrow. We've had them on Sunday, and then there was another one. So I'm going to go and join them tomorrow. And I got into the Extinction Rebellion, the Food Rebellion. They're the vegans. They were the Animal Rebellion. They're doing little videos how to cook vegan food. And I put a comment in when they were going live, and I said, how about doing outreach by feeding the protesters? You can keep the distancing, you can wear the masks, and you can do it on a cart with a bike, because they're London based, as I am. And they liked that, and they read it out in the middle of the video. So that was good. But then I felt a little bit guilty, because I was like saying, why don't you do it instead of doing it myself? So I said I would print up a little leaflet with the link to the vid on it and the recipe. So I'm waiting to hear back on that, but that is like perfect, because the Black Lives Matters and the hatred and the killing, it's all linked, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm an intersectional person, and they liked it. I liked that they read it out in the video, so it got loads of coverage as well, the concept. But that's already done over here. Like I said in my comment, the Hare Krishnas have been doing that for donkey's years over here. They go to all the protests with their cart full of lentil dal and their cart full of rice and maybe a flapjack, and they don't do any preaching, nothing. They just give out the food.
Shankar, welcome.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. Good day, depending on where you are.
Yeah, welcome. Do you want to start the recording, Jamin?
Sure. Doing it as soon as you give me the green light. Stopping the old one.